Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. Once again, I'm pleased to have another original broadcast interview, this time with Susan Friedmann. She is book author of Riches in Niches, How to Make It Big in a Small Market. Susan, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Thank you. Good. Good to be here, Kurt.
Good, good. Susan, all right, now, how do I become a nichepreneur?
How do you become a nichepreneur? A small business owner who would like to work in a specific niche.
Yes. And how do we find those? Because, listen, you know, you would think, it's like a good internet name like business.com and all those are taken. You would think that maybe it might be hard to find a good niche that already isn't being filled. But is that possible?
There are so many niches out there, Kurt. I have lost number of how many there are out there.
Yes, yes. And how does one find one? Is it just a matter of having a need and not finding anybody to be able to supply it?
That's one of the ways that many people, and I give some examples of that in the book, that a lawyer looked to find an area that she didn't have covered before.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to look at the need and look at your industry and find something that nobody else is doing where there is that need.
Right, right. That's interesting. Traders Nation did that 6 years ago, and we now hold the market space for it. It's awesome. I can understand exactly what you're saying. Now, in your book, Susan, you also write about 7 success strategies of niche marketing. Name us one or two if you can. The rest of them, they're going to have to buy the book to get.
They'll have to buy the book.
That's right.
Exactly, Kurt. So we'll give a few.
Yes.
The first one is literally what I call the name of the game. The name that you choose your company. And I often give the example of myself because so much of all I've written is what I've done over the last 20 years, and I've condensed it in a fashion that everybody can use it.
Right.
So I had my company, I named it Diadem Communications. I was so excited about this name. The only problem was nobody knew what on earth I was selling.
Right, right. All right, so how were you able to brand that? Because that's part of name recognition, isn't it, is branding?
Absolutely. Well, I looked at what am I doing? I work in the trade show industry.
Yes.
I want to be the trade show coach, and that's exactly what I named my business. As soon as I did that, Kurt, the business changed completely.
Right.
It was like I was running a completely different business because then people knew exactly what I did.
Right, right. And it's a short explanation of exactly what it is, isn't it? All right, now, let's say you've got your brand, you got your name, you got to move forward, your name in the game. How do you build your media muscle? How do you get out there and get recognized?
A lot of what we're doing now, getting on radio, writing articles. For me, writing tips and articles has been the big thing for me to create my expert identity. And it's because my target audience reads, you know, the printed version, whereas there are other people, radio, TV, would also be excellent media vehicles to use.
Yeah. Now, what if somebody doesn't have a huge budget for media? I mean, what are some simple ways, low cost, if you will, Susan, that people can get their name out there and start getting it recognized and maybe build up that funding in time with sales and revenue to get a larger media package? How would one go about, really simply, on a small budget?
Articles. I would recommend articles and tips. Get into industry magazines. Tell editors, you know, about what you do. Be available. Be a resource. Get interviewed by, you know, the print media. That's a really good one to start, and it doesn't cost anything, just your time.
Right. So, listen, you write an article, and you spend some time emailing this article out to publications, news media outlets, things of that nature, right? That's what we're talking about.
I would recommend that you build a relationship,
Yeah.
especially with the industry media. I'm in an industry where there are very few publications, so I know everybody knows me.
Right.
If you're in an industry where there are a little more than, you know, just a handful, pick the ones that would be right for you and that you'd like to be featured in.
Right. All right. Now, listen, you also write about move the movers and shake the shakers. In the trading industry and trading stocks and things of that nature, there's movers and shakers. This has got to be different. How does this transcend across to a general market?
Well, this is one of my most powerful strategies, Kurt.
Yeah.
And that is get involved with the industry associations. Go to the meetings where the industry meets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, meet the people who are really involved in that so that, you know, they know you, you know them, and you are constantly looking to build that expert identity.
Right. All right. You also write about catching writer's fever. Listen, I think I have personally, I have a permanent writer's block. How can one really get into writing if they're not into it? Or maybe should they hire somebody on maybe like a freelance basis to do writing for them, whether it's the articles, etc.?
Absolutely. Don't ever let that stop you.
Right.
There are so many people out there who can help you with the writing. I mean, think about all these famous people who've got books out there. I am sure that many of them were ghostwritten.
Yeah.
So the same can apply to you. And the fact is that all you need to do is just share the information, and somebody will put it together who enjoys writing.
All right. Now, where can we find your book, Riches and Niches? Barnes & Noble, all the major bookstores?
Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, all the major booksellers are selling it now. Riches and Niches, How to Make It Big in a Small Market. If that's what your audience is interested in, hey, I'd love them to go and buy it.
That's awesome. And what about a website, Susan? Do you have one out there?
richesandniches.com.
That makes sense to me, Susan. That makes sense to me. All right, listen, have yourself a great day today. We have Susan Friedmann on with us. Riches and Niches, How to Make It Big in a Small Market. Susan, thanks for being on Traders Nation.
Thank you so much, Kurt, for the opportunity.
You're more than welcome. All right, Susan Friedmann, get on out to Barnes & Noble today, all your major bookstores or your favorite local corner store. I'm sure they've got it. Pick up a copy today. This is an awesome book, okay? Be sure, please, to check it out. Do yourself a favor. It'll be a disservice if you don't.